snapshot. We are at the bottom of the barrel in funding for at least 3 or 4 different categories. We are last in teacher pay. So what that means is teachers are hemorrhaging from our state and moving to neighboring states so they can make 10 to 20 grand more. What that trickles down to means there are 2,000 teaching vacancies in our state, which means we can withhold our labor and nobody can do anything about it. So that was one of our strengths, right? It's a huge problem, but it actually helped us in our movement, right? It was a tactic. So we are low in pay, and similar to West Virginia, we have had $1.1 billion cut from our K-12 funding pot since 2008 that has not been restored. Even though the economy is recovered, the governor claims our economy is booming, we are missing $1.1 billion. And everybody knows that that also trickles down, and that's resources and counselors and nurses and buses and M&O and everything, right, comes from that bucket of money. So our class size is also almost last in the nation. I think we're 48th or 49th. Our class size is bad. Per pupil funding, we're at the bottom of the barrel in the nation also. And our counselor to student ratio is about 900 to 1. Yes. So Arizona has a lot to fight for. So we actually had 5 demands. We demanded a 20% teacher increase. We also demanded competitive wages for all workers, just like our West Virginia brothers and sisters did. We asked for a moratorium on tax cuts. We said stop or we're walking out. We also asked basically flat out for funding levels to be restored to the 2008 levels. Just to 2008. We didn't ask for any more, just put it back. So that's just a little bit of a snapshot. And within those demands, of course, comes class size and counselors. If you can restore funds back to 2008, we could mend some of those holes. So we also are ground zero for Koch brothers money. We are ground zero for charter schools, ground zero for privatization, ground zero for public funding, the defunding of public education. So Arizona is a disaster for education. Teachers there, and I just moved there in July. I'm a former Chicago Teachers Union member and went on strike back in 2012. So I sort of felt a calling to do this. For some reason, I was there at the right time. And I knew what to do. I have gone through it before in Chicago, and Chicago did a wonderful job of an escalation process. And that's what we did in Arizona, is if we created a very highly structured and organized system in 8 weeks. And how we did it, and I'll go on to the next question, is we basically started with a Facebook page, because I was on your page for a while and learned what to do, and I was in Oklahoma's page for a little while, and so I made the Arizona page, and we had a Twitter account also, and so we used both platforms to organize. Within 3-4 days, we had thousands of people. Within 3 weeks, we had 50,000. We're at 55,000 people right now. Yeah, so it took off. People were wanting this to happen. We had learned from our amazing, West Virginians that we could do it in a right-to-work state, and ours is very deep red. And you were the catalyst that started the fire, so thank you. And so here's what we did. I had learned in Chicago that you have to have a network, and we set up site liaisons, which are basically representatives in every single site across the state. We asked people to volunteer. We asked them to sign up on a Google form with their information and to organize their sites. We right now have 2,000 site liaisons that we can call upon at any time. So we started at the sites, and then we asked them to do actions. And everybody wanted to strike right away, and we said, you know what, let's see if you can do these little actions first. Because you can't do a big job action unless you can do smaller actions, right? It's just logical. So we said, okay, wear your red shirts on Wednesdays, Red for Ed Wednesdays. Then take pictures with your groups at your school. And people started to realize, just like you guys did, wow, I'm not alone. I am among my people, and there's a lot of us. And so the visual representation on social media, I cannot stress how important that is. We would do Facebook videos where I would model an action, and I say, here's what you're gonna do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, go do it. And people did it, and they posted pictures, and they posted videos. So we started small with t-shirts, then take pictures with posters, and tell us why you're Red for Ed. Give us 3 reasons. Why are you fighting for public education? Tell your story. Put those pictures on social media. And then our media, our news outlets, picked up on everything we did. And we were in the media, we're still in the media, and it's been almost 3 months. We are still holding the news cycle all the time. And so then we escalated. Then we worked on community events where we asked people to self-organize, and we got car window markers and painted our cars with facts about the problems in Arizona so that when anybody drives anywhere, they can see what is happening, and it worked like magic. We had mobile advertising throughout the entire state, even out in the reservations had painted cars. It was amazing. And so then we did small actions. We protested when the governor was talking on the radio station. We had hundreds of people down there outside the radio station. Then we did a rally where we told the governor what our demands were in person on the news, right? We had 6,000 people down there. Then we did walk-ins, and we basically set goals and said, okay, you guys all want to strike, you all want to walk out, prove to us that you are ready to do so by clocking attendance at every single walk-in. So we created a link for every single site, and we said once we got 1,000 schools walking in, we can have 1,000 schools walking out. And we had 1,200 some walking in, and we said, okay, we took a strike authorization vote that the union actually helped us with, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but we did a real union vote, and whether you were a member or not, you got to vote. And it turned out we had 80% of people who said we wanted to walk out, so we walked out. Yep. And we actually did training for our liaisons. Anytime we asked them to do an action, I would create a group Google presentation, or I would do a Facebook video and say, here's what I want you to do, now go and turn and do. I did a train the trainer kind of thing and said, go do it. Worked beautifully. So if you're looking for ideas, that one's a keeper. So what role did the local and state? Well, our union president, so we have Arizona Education Association has the most membership, about 20,000 members. We have AFT, but they only have about 200 members. And we're right to work, but there's fuzzy language about whether or not it's illegal to strike, so we're doing it. So, ours is a very unique situation because we had learned from West Virginia and Kentucky and Oklahoma, honestly, about what to do and what not to do. And so our relationship was quite wonderful. We worked in a parallel fashion where on week 3 of our movement, the union came in and said, we're here to help, how can we help? And so they provided resources like Action Network so we can reach a broader range of an email system. They provided funding and signs and anything we needed to support us, they were there. And we actually are on leadership calls with them pretty much weekly now anyway. So they helped fund our march, our massive march that you guys all saw. I mean, they worked with us every step of the way, knowing that we were driving the bus. It was a teacher-led, teacher-driven movement, and the union was alongside of us, providing resources, and it was reciprocal. So it was wonderful. So not only did we have site liaisons in every single school, we also had the union representatives, and sometimes they doubled up as being both a liaison and a union rep, and that's okay. So I don't want you to think that that wasn't part of it. It was. So let's see. Union presidents, we have locals, so we have many, many, many districts, and every district has their own local, and those presidents actually helped us get those members involved and said, hey, did you hear about this, and help with communication. What did we win? So we had 5 demands, and we really only got 1 of them, and kind of a partial of a second, so everybody thinks that we won 20%. It's not true. After we threatened to walk out, the governor came back and said, oh, okay, I was going to give you a 1% raise, but now I can find additional funds for an extra 9%, and I'll get you to 10% this year. Oh, that's magical. How'd you do that? So, great. So there was no dedicated funding source, right? He was going to have to pull funds from other pots. And so he tried to take some from disabilities and all these other things that we need. And so we said, it's not good enough. We're not taking this. Are you kidding me? No. So we said no. And we basically ended up, you know, when all is said and done, the dust settled, we ended up going from $60 million in the K-12 funding pot, and we boosted that to $400 million. That's the farthest any legislation has been pushed for K-12 funding in the history of Arizona. So that's a huge deal. And so what that means is every district would get money for raises, but then the districts would have to decide who gets it. And one of our main talking points is that we are educators. We're not just teachers. We're counselors and nurses and cafeteria workers and classified everybody. So what that did is create, you know, the governor said, I gave you money, talk to the district, it's on the district. So now he's trying to pit us against our districts. Well, all the teachers stepped up and said, well, we're going into our districts, we're negotiating, and people are showing up in droves now. And they are watching their districts, and that's another major win, is teachers who never went to board meetings before are showing up and saying something now. And that is huge. So, I think I have 3 minutes. So, we want some money. Most people are getting about a 10% raise. Different districts, of course, look differently because it went off of an average salary of $48,000. Well, if your district makes less or more, you're not getting adequate funding. So some districts will get more, some will get less. So either way, we're having conversations about raises. That's a win to me. Raises that were bigger than what the governor ever wanted to give us. So that's a win. Another win, our teachers have now become so politicized. They've watched firsthand, they witnessed the legislature turn down every single amendment we had to help our kids, and they denied every single one of them. And teachers' jaws just hit the floor. I mean, people were just appalled at the way the legislature worked. And now they're awake. We have teachers running. Every single position now is filled with either a teacher running. There's no vacancies. Someone is pitted against somebody else now. There's going to be opposition, and we're going to do a primary thing and a Remember in November thing. But primaries are in August for us, so we have tons of teachers going out there. We have tons of teachers on the ballots now, and so for us, that's a huge win. We're going to get pro-education people in there, and we're going to work as hard as we can. And if approved, it will be voter protected and will generate $690 million annually to go into directly the classroom site fund.
Taxing the Rich Initiative.
We have to get 151,000 signatures by July 5th. So thank goodness we have our liaison network, because we phone banked them the other day and said, we need your help, get out there, help us out. Everybody turns in 10 sheets and we can do this. So we now, that network is so key to mobilizing people in the future. So lessons to be learned and applied in California. Charter schools, you guys, I'm with you. We all need to work together to figure that one out. I don't have a solution, but we included charter teachers in our movement because we know that a lot of them used to be public education teachers and only went there because of a bonus or a cute little benefit they didn't see at their locations. So we didn't exclude them. We're not pro-charter. We said, hey, we love teachers. If you were with us, okay, great, be with us. Another lesson is obviously withholding labor works. Even if it's the threat of it, right? Just the threat works. Educators have the power. Power comes from the people. The more people you have, the higher your membership, whether it's grassroots or in the union, the more power you're going to have, the more powerful your collective voice. Rank and file is the way to go. It's the way, we would not be successful unless we were a grassroots movement and we worked outside of the union, but also with the union. So just keep that in mind.